Hello and welcome back to the podcast. Um, I kind of don't know what I'm going to do today. I haven't written the blog post yet, so I'm basically just riffing off of 3 points on my Notion, which is overall, I think, a pretty terrible idea. But yeah, I didn't, was not able to do anything yesterday. But yeah, I'm just riffing, I guess. So, today I kind of want to talk about music, or maybe not music. I think that's a little bit disingenuous. Maybe more art itself as a concept and making art commercially. I want to talk about how, well, what that is like. This feels a little weird to talk about, but I don't know. I don't know what to talk about concerning it, but I will say something about it. This is going to be a pretty dog podcast episode. It's going to be a pretty short one. So let's see. So I think I'm going to take music as an example, or maybe if I get a better analogy, I'll bring that up as well. But as an art, especially if you're a big artist in the music world, you, uh, something I've been thinking about is whether you have to start making stuff for the masses instead of for yourself. Because I don't know, I don't think people will make music just to get money, which it feels like a pretty, what do you call it? A pretty a vain effort, so to speak. As a profession, music isn't exactly the most stable of careers, and so it feels like anyone committing to try and do music as a career will have to like it at least to some extent. So the question I've been thinking about is, uh, once you get to a certain stage, do you start making music to uh, for the masses? Do you start making it to try and get traction, or to try and sell more albums or whatever, sell more tour tickets, try and make music that people like, that people will like? Or do you stick to something that you want to, or not want to? Do you make stuff that you like making? Do you experiment? Do you start doing new stuff? That The reason I've been thinking about it is Blackpink as a band. I don't know how involved they are in their own music, but it feels like most of it has been sort of stagnant. It feels to me that most of it has been similar. I don't think their sound, at least the singles, I like the B-sides quite a lot actually. I don't feel like their singles or their A-sides have really evolved much by way of, like, not even evolved much A sonically, and B, uh yeah, I think mainly sonically they all sound very similar to me. So yeah, um to be fair, YG as an organization is also kind of dumb. They do a lot of dumb stuff. And yeah, so the first thing I've been thinking about is why would someone make music, right? I think music to some extent is creative fulfillment to a lot of people. I guess music might have changed people's lives, so they want to change others too. uh but I think it's primarily just creative fulfillment. You like music, so you make music. You like listening to music, you like playing an instrument, you like writing songs, you like singing, so you do it. um I don't think it's more complicated than that. This is getting a little weird. Now, making music to reach an audience feels a little bit wrong, I guess. I'm not faulting people who do it, because in to some extent, as a job, musicianship isn't really a stable one, as I've already said. Especially if you're not like a really big artist. If you're like still, underground or indie or whatever, you're not really making that much monetarily, so it's still not exactly the most stable of professions. But yeah, so the question is, should you make music to reach an audience? Ethically, no. You probably will end up doing it. So it's somewhat akin to YouTube videos, I guess. You, part of you has is like, you know, part of you is sort of a slave to the algorithm. You kind of need to uh, make stuff for the audience and for the algorithm if you want to get traction or if you want to make your money, make your revenue, hit your numbers. But uh, again, YouTube as a profession is not stable. So people who do it must have, at least to some extent, some love for making YouTube videos. It's quite the same. So an exception to this rule, I actually don't know if it's the exception or the rule itself, but Taylor Swift as an artist doesn't exactly do doesn't do much of the, um what do you call it, the, like, she changes the music out a lot, like album to album sonically there are quite a few differences. Like, all her music is unique. She's had like pretty straight pop records like 1989. Reputation was a little bit more, I guess, not straight pop, especially the B-sides. Lover, again, a little bit not straight pop, but like slightly alternative. But Folklore, for example, is completely changed out. It's gone completely alternative and stuff. Midnight's it goes a bit more poppy. So yeah, I guess at, maybe there's no monetary pressure. Maybe you know that people will like like whatever music you make. And maybe that's what you should aspire to reach to as a musician. And I'm speaking as a musician myself. So yeah, I guess that's all. I don't know what to say. It's a pretty depressing, pretty straightforward, pretty meh uh podcast. Just a thought I had. So yeah, I guess at some extent when you start making stuff for yourself. Then once you start getting big, you start trying to cater to the masses to try to get your numbers. Then beyond a point when you like start making a lot of money, you you don't have monetary pressure, so you kind of return to your, you try to return to music as an art. So yeah, I guess that's all for today. Thank you for watching, not watching, listening, or watching, depending if you're on YouTube or not. And that's all. And goodbye.